Everybody, MegaRoller31 back for FSI DFS. I will be covering we'll call it the 10.5 game slate for Wednesday, 7/28, because one of the games is a 7-inning game. The Toronto and Boston game, unfortunately, it was rained out last night, and I think this was even a scheduled makeup game from another time. So they're definitely only playing 7 innings, but we got 10 other full games. Couple minor weather concerns, but should be good overall. If you're looking for content for the early slate, McKinley 412 should have that. So pause the video, check out our channel at FSI Sports DFS, and you should have the content for the 4-game 105 start for that. So let's jump into this one quickly and run through things here. First game up would be Miami and Baltimore. Slight worrying concern, maybe about 30%. Looks like they probably get this in. Jordan Holloway, Jordan Lopez. Holloway, a little bit interesting. Don't know how deep he goes, but there is some K upside there with the Orioles. Lopez, not really interested in. Marlins, getting a little bit pricey for some of their bats, but I think they're a really good spot here, and I kind of like them if you're playing up for 2 pitchers here. Rojas, Marte, kind of hard to get Aguilar in there. With Diaz also, who's got the splits advantage. Duvall Anderson's back now. He's had 2 really good games in a row. Has a hit, and at least the 3's been back. So I think the Marlins make a lot of sense here. If you want to take a couple one-offs here against Holiday, especially lefties for Baltimore, like Mullins, CJ Stewart, Mancini's just a really good hitter. I'm okay with that. Next up, we have the Washington Nationals and the Philadelphia Phillies. This one also has some slight rain. Looks like 40% up to the first pitch, but then like in the teens after that. So it might be a little bit of delay, but I think this definitely gets in. You have Patrick Corbin and Zach Wheeler. I think Zach Wheeler is one of the best matchups on the slate here. At 10-3, I think he's one of the top pitchers for the night. Turner tested positive for COVID in the middle of the game, got yanked last night, so that kind of hurt my lineup. But he's out, so this weakens this lineup even more. Wheeler, I think just besides Soto there, he should have a really, really solid game. Washington is 3.51 total, so I think Wheeler's in the smash spot tonight. I think he does very, very well. Washington bats, not too interested in, even though they're really cheap in this matchup. Patrick Corbin, he's not the pitcher he was a couple years ago, so I'm definitely looking to target him tonight. I think a Philly stack makes a lot of sense here. And even if you take Harper out of it, like you're looking at like 3.9 for Segura, 4.6 for Real Muto, 4.4 for Hoskins, 3.8 for McCutchen. And then if you want to throw like one of the 6, 7, or 8 hitters in there too to complete the stack, but or just go a 4-man and go with another stack, that's fine too. Throw Harper in there if you want. It's just the 5.7 is just kind of expensive there. Okay, so next up we have Milwaukee Brewers in Pittsburgh Pirates. Kranick gets another start. First start was really good. That he came out and struggled a little bit, got sent down. Now he's back up. Milwaukee doesn't have Yelich in the lineup, so this lineup isn't super great, but then again, I don't know what's going to happen. Is Kranick going to have a decent game because the Milwaukee lineup's down? Or are some of the Milwaukee bats going to come to life against him? So not really interested in Hauser either. 7K is a reasonable price, but I don't know how deep he goes in the game. Pittsburgh's pretty much in sell mode. I really don't like any of the bats here. And from Milwaukee, I think they're very intriguing, very cheap. Like Wong at 4K leading off is decent. Navarez for a catcher at 3.9, if you got some money to pay up, is definitely good. Tellus I've always liked against right-handed batting. Even like Garcia and Adames in the middle there, nice little 5-man for cheap. That's more GPP or stack, or maybe a secondary stack with your cash. Next up, you have the New York Yankees and the Tampa Bay Rays. You have Cortes and Waka. Cortes probably isn't going that deep, even though we like left-handed pitching against the Rays, who strike out a bunch, and it's in the pitcher's ballpark. I don't think he might pay off his salary, so I don't think you really need a tight. Waka on the other side, really not interested in. Waka's reverse pitcher, just a reminder, gives up a lot of hard contact to righties. So the Yankees, that's pretty much their whole lineup. You have Judge back, you have Urshela back, so there's some good guys to look at there. So like a Yankee stack, I think if you're betting their total at 4.05 right now, if you can get in on that, lock that in, take the over. That is just so low for the potential this lineup has. Tampa Bay, really not interested in too much of their bats. Even if Cortez doesn't go very long, they've got a really good bullpen. So not interested there. So Atlanta and New York, you have Max Fried against Tyler McGill. Both these pitchers I can make a case for. It's got really low total, both teams under 4. If you want to take some one-offs or bats for either side, I'm fine with that. But I think Fried is a decent mid-range pitcher at 8.5, and McGill I think is a little bit expensive at 9.2, but I think he could have a ceiling of 20 DK points with the talent that he has. And this lineup isn't as good without having Acuna there. So, and a lot of righties there that, especially, I know they had a decent night last night. Peterson got scratched, Almonte led off and did quite well. So I guess I could make a case for some of these if Peterson's back and Almonte in the lineup. But again, I think Miguel's very interested in a GPP. If you're playing like a bunch of lineups, I think he's definitely a pitcher to have in your pool. Toronto and Boston, it's kind of fool's gold. It's got an 11 total. Boston almost has a 6 total against Mats, and there's a 5 total for Toronto. But these guys are priced like it's a full game. You have, most of your Blue Jays you have up in the 5K range. Guerrero's at 6.2, just too expensive to play. So if you want to throw $1 on this game and stack it and either side, so $2 max, I think that's fine. But that 7 innings really can kind of knock the scores down a little bit. So, and like I said, there's no pricing break, so I'm just completely out of this game. I'm going to pretend it's just a 10-game slate. Like I said, if you want to try to throw a Toronto stack and a Red Sox stack and $1 GPP, no problem with that at all. I think could be definitely a smash spot. You just lose a little bit of I think I'd go with Toronto more than Boston, because being the home team, they're definitely guaranteed to bat for 7 innings, because if Boston's ahead, then they don't get the bottom of the 7th, so you don't get 6 innings out of them. So you lose almost 1 to 2 at bats per batter. Next up, you have Madison Bumgarner and Jordan Lyles, Arizona against Texas. Madison Bumgarner against this Texas team is very interesting, but just at 9.5. If he was like 8.5 or something, I consider him, but if you want to throw him out there in GPP, that's fine. Definitely, it's a pick'em game pretty much. Lyles is really bad. I love an Arizona stack here, especially the lefties, and they're really cheap. Calhoun, Smith, throw out Escobar at 5.8. If you can fit him in the stack, that's fine. But I think if you just skip right over him and you can go like 1, 2, even like 5, 6, 7 down the Van Meter, like they're very, very stackable, especially if you're trying to pay up for 2 pitchers on this slate. Texas against Bumgarner. If you want to take some of the righties here, Eli White, I think at second base, which is hard usually to fill at 2.6, is in a great spot here. Falafa leading off, Garcia batting third here. Could be a steal at 4.1. So Curtis Terry possibly at 2.6K. That's a decent price on him. I know he's only had a couple games up here and only scored 2 DK points. So I don't know if you think this is finally his ninth, then go for it. Check it out. Like Trevino, you have batting at 2K there. If he's in the lineup also, he's got the splits advantage. He might be a decent punt for catcher. Cincinnati and Chicago, winds blowing across this time. Not going to be blown out like yesterday. You have Miley and Zach Davies. Zach Davies is 0 strikeouts, not interested in him. Miley is a little expensive at 10.2. I think, you saw Cubs kind of held at bay even with the wind last night. And Baez is banged up. I don't know if he's going to be back in the lineup or not. So I think Miley's intriguing, but that price is so high. Like if you think about it, you could have Giolito for less. You could have Walker Buehler. You could have Wheeler in a really, really good matchup, or you could have Tyler Miley, who's not a bad matchup against the Cubs, but just his overall package as a pitcher, I'm not as interested in. So definitely out on Cubs bats here. Maybe Ortega if I have 2.5 left in the outfield and need to fill a spot. I'm okay with that. But I'm really not looking at anything else on that side. This game's not in Cincinnati. Cincinnati bats, if you want to take some of the lefties, I'm fine. Winker, Votto. I know McKinley 412 is going to fall over when I said that. Naquin. I think there's, some of the lefties I'd take here maybe as a 3-man stack or a couple one-offs, but I'm not interested in a full-on stack here. The wind's not blowing out, and Davies is a decent pitcher. He just doesn't get many Ks, so that's why I'm not considering him. I don't think he's going to get blown up. White Sox and Kansas City Royals. Giolito is a really big favorite here. They have 5.73 total. So definitely like the White Sox. I know Kansas City has looked masterful in pitching against White Sox. It really burned me on Monday night with I thought the stack was going to be gold, and they just absolutely did nothing. So, but I'm kind of interested in maybe, I'm not going to say they're my favorite one in cash, but I think there's they look good again tonight going against left-handed pitcher in Bubik. So Giolito is one of my favorite pitchers on the slate up there with Wheeler. I love the 9.8 K price tag on him. Kansas City, I think, there's enough strikeouts and stuff in there that he'll have a decent game. KC bats I'm really not looking at unless you think Giolito is going to be highly owned and has a chance to flop, which anything can happen in baseball. So you could stack them there in a GPP. Next game, you have Colorado and the Angels. Chichi Gonzalez is one of the worst pitchers, I think, in Major League Baseball right now. And then you have Andrew Heaney on the other side at 7.4K against this Rockies lineup. I know it gives Story the splits advantage. But I think Heaney, I don't know if he's going to get a ton of strikeouts, but he's they're a 220 favorite here. So I think he's going to be the chalkiest pitcher on the slates. And I think against this really bad pitcher, the Angels make a lot of sense. But the problem is Walsh is banged up. He hurt his side. They're determining if he's going on the IL or not. So if he's out, really, who do you stack here besides Fletcher and Ohtani? I just see Upton recommended so many places. Check out his box scores recently. He is horrible. I know I said the same thing about Pineda a couple videos ago, and he went out there and had a really, really good game. But honestly, let's see here. 5 at-bats yesterday, he had 1 hit. 4 at-bats before that, 0. 4 at-bats before that, 0. 4 at-bats before that, 0. 3 at-bats before that, 1. So if I'm looking at his box scores, since he's come back from injury, 0 DK points, 7 DK points. That was with 1 double and a walk. That's all he had in that one. 2 DK points, 0, 0 on 3. So if you think this is Justin Upton's night, then go for it. I want to see some more before I start playing him either 3.7K. I would rather take Jimenez in the outfield at 2.8 in a much better matchup with the splits advantage. So again, I really don't know who to stack from this Angels team, even though the total looks beautiful and it's a great matchup. Maybe Brandon Marsh, he's been decent. He's getting a couple doubles here and there. He's had a couple good box scores recently. So I think you just have to see what the lineup is and figure out what pieces you want from the Angels. I think they're definitely Ohtani's one of the best plays on the slate. Very, very expensive, 6'4", but he probably, earns that. He'd probably definitely have a home run tonight. This game is in LA, not at Coors. Rockies, if you think Heaney's going to be very chalky, stack the righties here. Rogers, I think, is a good one-off also at second base. Hard to fill sometimes at 3-6. Story, Cron, I think there's a decent lineup you can build there. Finally, we have the LA Dodgers and the San Francisco Giants. Walker Buehler, DeSclafani. Buehler, I like him. The Giants are still good, but banged up. DeSclafani, he's still missing some pieces out of this Dodger lineup, so they're not back to full strength. They're still decent. They still have a 4 total, but I think it's definitely something that we can look at too. So just kind of quickly recapping where we're at. Buehler and Wheeler, probably the top guys. Just watch Rowena, Wheeler. So I think my order would go Wheeler, Giolito, Buehler, but I think you can't go wrong with any of those guys. Amali would be a GPP just because he's very expensive. For the medium range, I think Fried would be the first one. McGill, just a little pricey there. DeSclafani, because they are the Dodgers, and Bumgarner just with the pricing, and it is a he'd be a GPP play out of all those. Low Heaney, I think he's going to be very, very popular at 7-4. And then I think if you want to take some darts, Kranick or Howell would be where to look. Top stacks, Philly definitely my number one. Again, watch the weather. White Sox would be number two. I know you got burnt before, but I think I might go back to the well there. LA Angels, I just got to figure out who I'm going to play there. And then Cincinnati would be for the top ones. Mid-range ones, Milwaukee, they're very, very cheap today. The Dodgers, because definitely they are the Dodgers and have some really good bats. New York Yankees, but only pretty much the righties, which is most of the lineup. But Waka's reverse splits pitcher there. Miami, I like them too. In their matchup, Baltimore, because we don't know how long Holloway's going to go there. Arizona is very cheap, especially if you take out Escobar out of that. There's a lot of really good hitters there in that situation. Texas, if you want to pick on Bumgarner, and then if you really want to YOLO, take some of the Toronto or Boston bats. So let's look at what we have for lineup construction quickly. If you want to pay up for both pitchers, I would go Giolito and Wheeler. And I'm just taking pieces of Arizona and Miami. I'm pretty much going like Anderson, Rojas, Duvall, and Marte for there. And then I'm going with Calhoun and Smith for Arizona, and then you can just figure out like who you want for catcher and second base. If you want to get Escobar in, you can. You just have to punt catcher, and then you'd have to drop down, I think, Wheeler to like Heaney or Giolito to Heaney to be able to get him in that one. So I think where I'm going to go with my pitchers is I think I'm going to go Giolito and Heaney. I'm okay going up to Wheeler if you can get there, but I'm stacking Philly. I'm going Real Muto. I'm going Hoskins, Segura, and McCutchen. I'm going to skip Harper, and I'm going to go Ohtani because he's got a great matchup there. But if I do drop Ohtani and I go up to Harper, then it's easy to get any. You can get up to Walker Buehler. You can get Wheeler. You can get any pitcher there. But I think I'd rather go Giolito and Ohtani. And that leaves you third base and shortstop open. But Segura, I believe, can play any of those positions. So just look between those three infield positions as who you want to fill out your lineup. And when you find your favorite guys, and plug Segura into the hole that's left open, and you should be good to go. So appreciate you watching. Thanks for sticking out to the end of this video. So if we helped you out here, just please give us a like, subscribe to our channel so you can see when our videos are coming out. Love the comments you guys put below. We really enjoy engaging you guys, trying to help you out here. And all the people have hit me up on Twitter and become friends. I think, I've met some really cool people through these videos. So MegaRuler31 on Twitter. Follow me, I'll follow you back. And then, DM me if you have any questions. So thanks again for watching, and good luck tonight.